Today is Saturday, February 11th, 2017. And today I'm going to talk about the so-called increased scrutiny that's been placed on illegal immigrants from ICE. Now, if you don't know what ICE is, that's the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Basically, what their job is to make sure that people are here legally, to make sure there's no illegals running around. A lot of times they perform raids on places where they know that illegals are at, and they focus on people that are high risk, child sex offenders, drug traffickers, and the like. You know, and if anybody just happens to be illegal, if they go to a house and there's a bunch of illegals in there, they may do a raid and deport some people. And many of them come from Mexico and also Central America, but also other countries. Let's not get beyond that point. Let's not forget that point. Let's not kind of gloss over that point. Like I've said before in previous videos, they've caught 400,000 people at the southern border from 150 different countries all over the planet. A lot of Chinese come in, a lot of people from India, people from the Middle East, people from Europe. They even caught a Canadian at the southern border of the U.S. and Mexico. But I digress. My point here is talking about ICE. People are saying that ICE, they just, they've upped their raids because of Donald Trump. I think it's like 160 people got rounded up in California a couple of days ago. But from the spokespeople at ICE or spokesperson, and I'll place the actual statement on the screen before you, or an excerpt from the statement, they're saying this is routine. They arrest individuals every day. This is not anything new. This is pretty much just how they operate. Now, what I want to do right now is show you this piece from NBC. It kind of like, it's like a hit piece a little bit. It kind of wants to kind of tug at your heartstrings. You see a little kid crying because their mama might get shipped off to Mexico. But I have a lot to say about this actual clip. What we're going to do right now is roll it. And then after you see it, make your own mind up. And then I'll kind of give you my thoughts on that clip and my final thoughts about this whole situation, this whole kerfuffle with ICE and Trump and etc. So without further ado, go ahead and roll it.
Today, a family reunion, but it's only temporary. Guadalupe Garcia de Rayos' two American children have traveled to Mexico to be with her after she was deported this week, the first high-profile removal during President Trump's administration.
I thought the United States was supposed to be united.
But Guadalupe says her children can't stay in Mexico because it's too violent.
She's our everything.
And in this Florida apartment, another mother, Teresa, makes dinner for her children. 4 were born in the U.S., 1 was born in Mexico. And recently, 8-year-old Kelly heard a knock on the door. It was immigration officials with questions for Kelly's mother, who is undocumented. Kelly so traumatized she had a panic attack and was hospitalized. Her father has been detained. She is now terrified of losing her mother as well. The fears of separation are traumatizing for children, warns the American Academy of Pediatrics.
You're really threatening the health of children by placing them in situations where they're chronically worried about the fear of being separated from their parents.
While every day on the southern border, families emerge from the brush.
She's saying that she has to escape the violence in El Salvador because once kids become 6, 7, 8 years old, they're brought into the violence, they're brought into the gangs, and they'll be killed.
Mothers trying to shield their children, who may later find more trauma in the fear of family separation.
All right, so you see what's going on there. You saw that piece. Now, the first thing is the whole tone of it. You kind of want to say certain little keywords, little buzzwords that are very politically charged and motivated, like undocumented. I mean, why can't you just say what it is? Illegal. That's just that simple. You're here illegally. If you want to become a United States citizen, if you want to be here legally, get you a visa, become a citizen, do something. You can't just be here with no papers, no nothing, just like it's nothing. Walk across the border and just be here and act like it's okay. And one thing they didn't say about the person who was deported already, the father, that picture, either it was old, it was kind of an old picture, maybe a low quality picture, or it was a jail picture. You see, if you got a criminal here that's here illegally, then why are they here? They're not adding to the country. You got people that got felony records. You got, sex offenders, people that are involved in human trafficking, people that are involved in high level narcotics activity, drug trafficking, making your sons and daughters be hooked on heroin, cocaine, LSD, all these, crazy hard drugs, and inflating our insurance rates because of all these kids that are dying or becoming overdosed or addicted to these drugs. Why should they be here? And they want to have the crying kid in your face, make you feel bad for the kids. But hey, it's not my fault that their parents were here illegally. If you want to be upset at somebody, don't be upset at people that are enforcing the laws, which is ICE. Because again, ICE has been around for 15 years and they've been doing the same exact thing, going on raids, rounding up people. There's always been somebody's kid crying because mama get deported or the daddy get deported. It's the same thing when somebody's dad go to jail for committing a crime. If somebody's dad, they got like 20 kids or whatever, if they go to jail because they robbed 100 banks, who are you going to be mad at? Are you going to be mad at the people that arrested them for robbing the banks? Or are you going to be mad at the person that actually robbed the banks? If you're here illegally, you're putting yourself and your children in harm's way. You know that one day you can get deported. There's like the woman that got deported after being here for like 20 years, who was a felon, by the way. She stole somebody's social security number to go work at a job. I've seen certain stories that said that she used a fake number, but I've also heard that she stole somebody's social security number. And the crime she got arrested for was identity theft, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments below. But using a fake number is a far cry from using somebody else's number. You see, when you're involved in identity fraud, you over here legally. I mean, why should you stay? And the reality is, in that situation, a judge had ordered her to be deported in 2013. So it's not even Trump or anybody else that had just said, okay, deport her now. It was already an order 4 years ago to deport her. But Obama's administration, they were focused on more high level people. So now ICE is just enforcing their laws on the books. You got a criminal, illegal alien, you got to go. And it is what it is. If there's any kind of uptick, it's just because they're just enforcing the laws that are on the books. Even though the person that's with ICE said that there is no actual renewed enforcement, it's just the same thing they've been doing. It's kind of routine. It's a routine activity. It's nothing beyond the pale. It's nothing beyond the scope of what they already do. It's just kind of normal. And anybody talking about if you're a child, I had a man on my I had an individual. Now I'm not sure if they're a male or female. I would not assume their gender, but I digress. An individual on one of my videos asked me in the comment section, it's like, hey, I came here when I was 5 years old with my parents. They brought me here. It wasn't my choice to come here. And I've been here illegally. I'm like in my early 20s or whatever. Should I be deported? And the answer is yes. It's not your fault necessarily because it wasn't your choice to come here. But I mean, just because your parents did something wrong and it was not your choice doesn't mean that they shouldn't be held accountable, or you. Because at that point, if we're going to say that's the case, then where do we draw the line? And what's the age cutoff limit? He was here. He was brought here when he was 5 years old. But what about somebody that's 15 and they got brought here by their parents? I mean, realistically, you got people that come over the border that are that age by themselves. So should they not get deported back because they're young? Or at that point, are you going to do is have an onslaught of people that come unaccompanied, which would just increase the human trafficking, sexual trafficking, all that kind of stuff, especially like these young girls coming by themselves. If you got a 12-year-old girl coming by herself, she's going to get snatched up immediately and put into somebody's massage parlor or something else in Mexico or some other country. She might get shipped off in a container overseas. See, that's going on, and nobody wants to talk about that. All everybody wants to talk about is real topical stuff, really emotionally driven stuff, not the real stuff that actually goes on. The human trafficking, the drug selling, people being used as mules to put physical drugs inside of their body to, transport it across the border. On top of La Bestia, that big train that goes from the southern border of Mexico at the border of Guatemala on up into, Texas, California, New Mexico, etc. So nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody's talking about the real things that happen, the real consequences of policy that just allows open border, allow people to stay, and there's no real definition. It's like, okay, you feel bad about the kids, you feel bad about the parents. Okay, so at a certain point, a lot of these people have kids, and a lot of people that come over the border are kids. So if they have kids, they're exempt, and if they are kids, they're exempt, then who's not exempt? It's really kind of crazy. You just got to enforce the laws. And I think that these raids being highly publicized, because like I said, it's not anything new, but the raids being more highly publicized in the media, people in Mexico, Central America, and other countries in the world, China, India, Middle East, Africa, Canada, for that one guy that came to the southern border of Mexico. These people watch TV. It's not like some kind of desolate place all the time where it's just no access to any kind of media or anything like that. They watch the TV and they see these reports. They see these reports and they understand what's going on. They talk on the phone to the people in California, Texas, and all throughout the United States that are there illegally, their cousins, they are there illegally or whatever. And they're saying, hey, don't come. ICE is out here. They're rounding us up. Don't come. That right there is a deterrent. See how easy that is? All you got to do is just enforce the laws that are on the books. And that same thing can be applied to a lot of other things, just like all these Black Lives Matter and Hands Up, Don't Shoot and Antifa coming to your local area, disrupting places. There are laws on the books that are against what they're doing. But unfortunately, in a lot of these situations, the laws are not enforced. If you begin to enforce the laws, if you begin to empower the police, if you stand behind the police, rather than making the police be like a pariah or some kind of easy target that does not have any kind of support from the local, state, or federal government, if you support the police and enforce the laws, that activity will dramatically decrease because people will see that there's an actual consequence for their actions rather than just doing whatever they want to do and getting away with it. So that's pretty much how you solve a lot of these problems. Enforce the laws that are on the books. There's no need for any new laws necessarily. Enforce what's there. The laws are there for a reason. We are a nation of laws, just like Bill Clinton said, and these laws must be respected. If you're here illegally, that's not my fault or anybody else's that you get deported. That's the laws on the books. If you want to come to a place, you got to adhere to their laws, their rules, their regulations, and their customs. If you don't want to adhere to that, then you don't have to come. This is a free country. You're able to come and go as you please. If you're here illegally, well, you got to go. That's pretty much all I got to say. My final thoughts on it are that, if you want to come to this country, come legally. I'm not against immigration, not at all. But just do it the right way. Don't come over here illegally and then commit crime and act like, it's somebody else's fault when you get deported. If I commit a crime, if I do something wrong, I get punished. If I go over a toll road without my Easy Pass, they send me a bill in the mail and I got to pay it. Or they try to block me from being able to get my tags and everything else. I got to follow the laws. I have to follow the laws to the T or else I'm out back, which means I'm out of luck, essentially. If I must follow the law, if other Americans must follow the law, people that are here legally, then so shall you if you want to come here illegally. But what do you think? Do you think my assertion about what's going on here is correct? Do you think that people that are here illegally, especially if they commit crime, should be deported as our laws dictate? Or do you think they should not be deported? Now, if they shouldn't be deported, then what should the law be? Have open borders? And my final question about that to you, if you think we should have open borders, if that's the case, then what happens to the United States? If you just allow the border to be open, you have every person from the whole world essentially descend upon the United States. At that point, what does it become? It becomes like Mexico. It becomes like Nigeria. It becomes like some other place that you don't want to go. I love to go to Nigeria to visit and Mexico to visit, but I love my country for what it is. We're a special country and we got to keep our country special. And if you want to be here, you need to be able to adhere to a certain set of principles that allow you to become an American, that allow you to become assimilated. It's not about color. Don't get it twisted. It's not about being a white place, all that kind of stuff. I'm not a white nationalist or even a black nationalist. I'm an American. And if you want to come to America, make sure that you want to be an American and do it the right way. So that's pretty much all I got. Whatever your comments are, let me know in the comments below. That's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.